The Vols are back.
Yeah. Money make the world go round. I'm trying to get it all right now. Everybody worry about the crown being. Look, homie, I'm the man right now. Talking to a peon, kind of time we on. Jump roll like the kind of take eons. Got a little buzz, it's time to go beyond. Can't look back, no time to hit rewind. Yeah, she wants to do S class. I'm like, boo, you must ask. They pour way too much in your glass. Just move your hips like a hold up class. Hit the gab, I talk that gap. Strut like up, man, I walk that shit. When I'm up, that's it. I'ma start living reckless. Get that bag, I'ma walk like this. Yeah, I'ma walk like this. Hit that lane, I'ma walk like this. Walk in the spot, but they all get lit. Tell them on flow, let me talk my shit. Every song bang, but they drop in hit. Stand on the man, post stop, no miss. Over your head, next time, don't slip. Play your part, better read that script. Yeah, I'ma walk like this.
Oh, that looks weird. There we go. Now we're doing well. I just realized Lucas and Julio couldn't hear me. All right.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, do I have to open up the intro this time?
No, I was muted on StreamYard. That's why you couldn't hear me. Anyway, oi, fellow comrades, it is Squidtard here, Mr. Squidtard, back at you with another episode of the Vol Star Podcast, episode 95. You think you're ready for the end, and then you realize you aren't, but that's all there is to it at the end of the day. We're 5 episodes away from the grand finale. I'm currently working that out, and again, I'm going to leave most of the information out about it until the week or 2 weeks before, but we'll get to that another time. First off, before we get to anything else, how are my 2 co-hosts doing tonight, Mr. WolVolrine, and then down there, Mr. Julio Rodriguez? How are you guys doing tonight?
I mean, I'm doing pretty good. I just got off of work a little bit ago. I had to go out and buy some new shoes because I'm planning on going on a cruise in a few weeks, like I already told you about that. So, yeah, in about, I think it's episode 98, I won't be here.
Understood. Julio, how about yourself? What are you up to tonight, other than being on the podcast?
Nothing much. Funny enough, my mom and practically all my family, except for my stepdad, I actually left for a cruise, so I'm by myself.
All right, house to yourself. You can be as loud as you want to.
Yeah, house to yourself. That sounds nice.
Yeah, I finally got the house to myself for once, so I can actually, like Squid said, be as loud as I want or do the podcast anywhere.
Yeah, you can crash out about anything that you want to, and we're going to give you some information to crash out about tonight. I love my Tennessee faithful, but I've got a hard truth to expose tonight, and they're not going to like it. I don't think anybody likes it. I don't like it. You know, just because I'm going to have to expose the truth doesn't mean that, you know, I like doing it. But you'll see what I mean once we get to that. First off, let me get to our fellow peoples here in the comment section. Hendon Hooker Stan, Young Man Connor, fellow channel member. Good to see you, buddy. Goob, Rookie 17, Matt Dummit, don't call me Doomit, damn it. Not JFKH with a $2 super chat, much appreciated. He says, boo! Good to see you, buddy.
Oh man, I'm scared. I think I might have just crapped my pants.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a chocolate sundae in there now. Andrew the Textbook, Ian the Hyper, Super Nuclear, Viper Technician. Good to see all of you guys here in the comments. Do you think Tennessee beats Georgia this season? I'll be at Neyland for that game and snag lower bowl seats. Well, I hope they do. I'm not a believer in it. I've explained it many times, and I'll explain it here as well. I think Tennessee plays way too soft against rivals, and that's why they wound up always being either close games or blowouts, especially on the road. So, yeah. I'm not convinced that we're going to I'm not convinced that we're going to beat them, but I would certainly hope we do. All right, well then, here, I'm going to go ahead and start out with this before we get to anything else. With the closing of the baseball season, we now have our last national champion of all of the athletic sports of the 2024 through 25 season. And that, of course, was, unfortunately for you, the LSU Tigers. Coastal Carolina, Jay just got way too soft at the end. Really just kind of went out on a limp note. And of course, part of that was due to the old ump ball kicking at their coach at the very first inning of the second game. But and to be honest, I doubt it would have made much of a difference. LSU is just playing a way better ball game throughout the entirety of the tournament. You really got to chop it up to that. It was either going to be them or Arkansas is what I think, and Arkansas missed their chance because they can't catch a ball. So better luck next year trying to get a national championship in baseball, which you don't have any still. Womp womp. But yes, it's not like I can say much of anything because look at this. I'm gonna put it up on the screen here on the YouTube screen. This is not national champions, but rather SEC conference champions. So that's why you don't see LSU on here. But yeah, as you can see, most of the conference is represented at some area here. Georgia, Arkansas, Texas, Alabama, Vandy, South Carolina, Florida, Auburn, A&M, Oklahoma, Kentucky. Kentucky of all teams, everybody's represented here. Well, except Missouri, because Missouri is a nothing school and they have nothing to be looking forward to in terms of sports. Eli Drinkwitz. But the other one, of course, not represented here is Tennessee. And, you know, like, haha, Tennessee's not represented on the board here. I don't think anybody would be making fun of this as much as they are if, and this isn't just our fans, but our athletic department, running around after every single thing that happens positive towards Tennessee saying, oh, we're in everything school, we're in everything school. What everything school has no national championships in like any of these sports in recent memory besides baseball? And we could say we were a baseball school, at least we're doing really good in that, but like everything else, it's been a long time since we managed to win a championship, or in some cases, never won one. Looking at you, basketball team. So I think the narrative around us being an everything school needs to go ahead and die off until we actually win some championships in these sports. And I'm not saying we have to win the national championship, otherwise it's a useless season, nothing like that. There's only one national champion in every single one of these sports, and more often than not, it just so happens to not be Tennessee. But we need to get to a point where we start bringing in some hardware to Knoxville. Otherwise, what are we doing? Running around with everything school? Oh, we're an everything school. The only everything school that wins nothing. It's ridiculous. It's a stupid narrative and it needs to go away. And I wish we'd start winning championships. I really, really do. And some people are going to say it's a dumb take that I think we need to go ahead and get rid of the everything school narrative. Just because Tennessee just so happens to be pretty good in everything doesn't make us an everything school. Texas is more of an everything school than Tennessee is because not only do they win a lot in all their sports, but they also win a lot of hardware. Proof of this, again, look at how many times that stupid horns up is on that screen. Here, you want a jump scare? Woo! Yeah, horns down. But point being is that we need to really start winning some hardware. And if we're really on the incline, then we need to start seeing it. Because otherwise, what the hell is the talent fee for? Because right now, the old Tennessee talent fee, it really ain't doing a damn good job, ain't it? Yeah, there you go. That's your little rant for the day. Hopefully you guys don't get too big mad about that. All right, well, any thoughts from you guys on that?
I mean, I'm not really mad. I mean, I guess I kind of agree, but I mean, wasn't it you literally 1 or 2 streams ago that literally said Tennessee was an everything school?
I like to troll.
Yeah, it was totally a troll.
If I did say that, you can't prove that I said that.
I mean, I remember you saying it, dude. I mean, literally, I'm pretty sure most people remembers it.
Well, if the comments would like to back Lucas up on that one and prove that I said it, then I'll go ahead and admit that. But if not, then oh boy, you're gonna get cooked again.
Nah, you said it. You said it.
Yeah, whatever. Julio, what about you? What do you think about that? Do you think we're this so-called everything school, or we deserve to run around with that narrative?
I mean, I feel like we kind of need just win, at other sports also. It's great we won in, baseball and stuff, but we almost, practically in almost every other sport, we kind of, get there, but we just can't get over the hump in whatever sport it would be. But, I mean, stuff that people don't normally care about, like rowing or swimming and diving or whatever. I feel like you got to probably, you know, start winning those, and then also just start winning at bigger sports too.
Exactly. Goob says to check the recordings, but my retort to that is I'm not the one who made the allegation. I could say right here on stream that Lucas pushed his 92-year-old grandma down the stairs. Now, if I just said it, it'd be like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just saying that to make Lucas mad or whatever. But if I had a video of Lucas pushing his grandma down the stairs...
Wait, how did you know about that?
Yeah, see, suddenly it's no longer... it's no longer an idea. So he needs to bring the receipt to me. I don't need to do anything.
I'll do my best to find it, but I'm about 99% sure you said it.
Well, 99 ain't good enough over here. Floby says, hey, Squid, apparently Florida State quarterback Thomas Castellanos talked trash about Alabama, saying they don't have Nick Saban to save them against FSU. Yeah, I did see that. Look, Bama has enough material as is. They don't need any more. You don't need to provide them with more material because, trust me, they have all the material in the world. And I don't think there's enough trash talk that's going to save Florida State from the absolute heat death of the universe that's coming towards their direction. I don't get why people are suddenly on this train that Florida State's getting ready to give Alabama a game. They're going to shut down that really quick. It's going to take about maybe a quarter and a half for all the narratives around Florida State to just instantly vanish. Let's see. Texas and Texas A&M have ginormous endowments and more NIL individually than the next 4+ programs in the state. Both could be independent and have an easier time than Notre Dame. Yeah, no. They're in Texas, so what do you expect? And a lot of teams are very successful from Texas when it comes to recruiting. Look at Texas Tech, number 2 in the nation recruiting-wise, only behind LSU. They're originally number 1, and in some cases they are number 1, but yeah. What's more likely, Tennessee winning a championship in football or getting a girlfriend? Who getting a girlfriend? Me? I don't know. Tennessee winning a championship, probably. If there's a girl that's ever interested, all she has to do is take one look at this channel and suddenly all those thoughts go away. Are we a nothing school? No. We're not a nothing school. We have championships. We just don't have like all the championships in all the sports. So no, we can't run around with an everything school. It's good to see LSU win the College World Series title. I'm an LSU fan for football, but it's still great to see them win it again. Now it's time for Nuss to carry and save Brian Kelly again. Well, Brian Kelly has yet to be saved. Save him from a job maybe, like Tennessee's used to doing with lower tier head coaches, but who knows? Who knows? All right, well, let's get into some of the news, shall we? And there's quite a bit of news to go over. Not as much as there was last week, but there is quite a few things we get to talk about here. First off, it's time for a recruiting update. Yes, another recruiting update for Tennessee. To give you an idea of where Tennessee sits right now in the recruiting class, obviously they sit at number 11, and they're going to probably stick around at number 11 in the 2025 recruiting class because that class is obviously over. However, the transfer ranking is a little concerning. We're sitting at number 80, and if you go down here to our transfers, we only have 7. We only picked up 7 guys out of the transfer portal. Some of these guys could make potentially huge impacts. Star Thomas, for one. Obviously, Joey Aguilar. Sam Pendleton will definitely make a day 1 impact. Wendell Moe Jr., Amari Jefferson. Josh Snell and Colton Hood will, I think, make some impacts on the defense. Colton Hood is a really good pickup, I think, because we needed some more weapons, I think, on the secondary. So I am happy about that. Same with Amari Jefferson, because if there's any 2 places that were significantly lacking for us, it's wide receiver and corners. So I'm really glad about that. Now, people are going to mention Jamard McCoy, but he can't guard 4 receivers at once, or Jeremiah Smith, but that's besides the point. But yeah, that's your 2025 recruiting class. 2026, right now we're sitting at number 41 overall. So like you look at that, you're like, oh, that's terrible. It's still very, very early. And really, there's not much of a point talking about it this early, but we did manage to pick up Luke Thompson as of recently. We got a few other pickups. KJ McLean's a pretty good one. Obviously, these 2 right here are the people that everybody's got their eyes on: Faison Brandon and Gabriel Osenda, the offensive tackle from Chattanooga, who committed at the start of the year. Yeah, both of these guys going to make an instant impact on the board. But yeah, that's your recruiting update for the week. Not much going on, and I doubt there is going to be too much going on until we actually get into the season. This is kind of this is the part of the year where it's really difficult to talk about all the sports because it's a dead point. Baseball just ended, basketball's been over, football doesn't start until most of the football talk doesn't even start until July or late July into August. So it's a really dead point of the season, really. Could you please do a name reveal for the finale? Who?
Name reveal? Well, I thought everybody knew your name.
Yeah, yeah. Coastal Carolina got robbed by the umps by ejecting their coaches. Yeah, I agree. That was a complete mess. Now again, okay. Bye, Julio. Good to talk. We lost Julio again. I will say this. I don't think Coastal would have won had that not happened, and it just would have been like a warning or whatever. But I think that was that entire fiasco from start to finish with the coach getting ejected, and that whole thing was basically numbed down to ego from the ump. And I don't know why it's specifically a problem in baseball, but it is. They for whatever reason, the umps are way more egotistical and so full of themselves, and it just so happens that guy's name is Angel, and his middle name is Hernandez. So there you go, Angel Hernandez 2.0, the college version, making an impact on the board. Yeah. FSU is a top 10 recruiting class right now, and Auburn is at number 72 and is at risk of losing their only composite 4-star to Florida. This is why I kind of try to go over recruiting as fast as possible, because I'm going to be completely honest, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with this. Recruiting this early in the year doesn't matter, especially now that we have NIL, the transfer portal, all of that. It could literally change in an instant. You never know. Again, I hate to kind of rag on Goob because he's been through enough torture, but look at what happened to Texas A&M 2022 recruiting class, number 1 in the nation. They ran through July and August with that. The number 1 recruiting class. You had analysts talking about how they were going to be the next national champion. What happens at the end of the year? They completely lose all their recruits, and it's just completely destroyed from the inside. So it could definitely change within any sort of time span. You never know. Something could happen. Look at what happened with Pat Fitzgerald in Northwestern a couple of years ago. You know, he was going into July. I think it was all the way at the beginning of August where all those hazing allegations came out, and they fired him within a week, and the recruiting class and everything else just completely melted down. So,
yeah, it's like that one time with Jeremy Pruitt. He looked like he was about to have like a really good class. He got like 2 commitments from 5 stars. And, of course, you know, a bunch of Tennessee fans, you know, started celebrating. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, yeah, I've learned from that hard experience that you don't start bragging about recruiting classes till, like November or October or, heck, even till, like, January. That's when you really start bragging about them. You don't start bragging about your recruiting in the summer.
Well,
right.
One example of the team looking like they weren't going to have a good recruiting class was Florida. What was it, last year? Where they kind of sucked for the most part of the year, but then they kind of got hot at the, end of the year, and they ended up having a pretty good class.
Right. I mean, it could be beneficial towards you or it could be detrimental. There's really no telling. But what I do know is that literally at any point, it could melt down or jump up. That's why recruiting talk this early in the year is just pointless for the most part. But I'm still going to do it because people love to know what's going on. Chances are most of these recruits will stick around pending nothing big happens. But yeah,
tampering.
Yeah, there you go, tampering. We're looking at you, Ohio State and Ole Miss. All right. Well, some of the other news going around, and this is relevant to basketball talk. This is something I think it's relevant to the entire SEC, though, to be honest. But we actually have our home and road games revealed in the SEC, and we have some pretty interesting conference matchups coming up. First off, looking at the Lady Vols and what they have to deal with. Their home slate has been revealed. They're playing Arkansas, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Missouri, Texas A&M, and Vandy at home. And then away, they're playing Bama, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and South Carolina. Thing is, though, with them, is that, you know, Lady Vols, they only play their opponents once. They don't play Bama twice, do they? Or Florida or Kentucky. They don't play them twice. If I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
Yeah, I think you're right. We don't play anybody twice. It looks like.
Right. That's not the
Well,
same.
no, we play Mississippi State twice.
Why Mississippi State though?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. We do play them twice. Yeah, Mississippi State. I can't confirm we do play them twice.
Why do we play them twice?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you just cause.
I don't know.
I can't figure it out either. I'd rather play UConn twice, but oh well.
Exactly. I'd love to beat UConn twice in a year.
Gives us 2 free wins. I won't complain. Here's the otherwise men's slate right here, and we've got the home slate includes Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M. And then meanwhile, the road slate, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, Missouri, and South Carolina. And then, of course, we play Bama, Kentucky, and Vandy, both at home and on the road. So, yeah, that is those are both of your schedules right there for the Lady Vols and the men's team. And not much else to really talk about other than that. There are a few interesting things to go over in terms of non-conference slates. For example, Tennessee will be playing NC State on November 4th, Stanford on December 3rd, and then Louisville in December 20th. A couple of classic games right there, and then the ACC-SEC challenge for Stanford.
Well, the only non-con opponent that I hear out of that could actually put up a fight with us right now is probably Louisville, because I think Louisville was actually a pretty decent team last year, and I would imagine they're probably going to get better year 2 under Pat Kelsey. So yeah, I feel like Louisville could definitely give us a game next year.
I definitely can't deny that. That's what I would think. All right, well, there is one other thing, and the Vols in basketball, the men's basketball team, they held their first publicly accessible summer session, and there were a couple of observations picked up by it, according to sources. First of all, most people are healthy except Omari Evans, who's coming off of an ankle soreness, but Felix Okapara, Phillips, JP Estrella, they're all returning and they're all fully healthy. Estrella, having him come back is obviously huge news. There are a couple of rotations with Gillespie, Nate Ament, and Abram. So they'll all be working with the team as well. But yeah, team looks loaded. Absolutely loaded. And to update you guys on what's going on with the Sakai Ziegler thing, because he's still fighting, trying to get that extra year of eligibility. He's been suing the NCAA. The NCAA said no. Then he tried to fight that, and now he's appealing it. It's a weird situation, but 99% sure, and I think everybody can agree with this. He's not coming back. That was his last year at Tennessee, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, as much I would love for Sakai Ziegler to come back, but he just needs to let it go. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I understand, like, Diego Pavia got an extra year, and I know that everybody, of course, was upset about that, but I don't know. Zakai just needs to let it go.
Well,
Pavia got an extra 2 years. 2 years at Utah.
Well, you have things like redshirting, which he didn't have, injury red shirts, which he didn't have. The whole thing, and he didn't have any of those things that would otherwise give you another year. So he's just trying to get another year just to do it. And I think yeah, I don't see that working out all that well.
In a world of Nikos, be as Zakai, yes.
That's
I will
true.
say though, listen, these people can laugh at Zakai all they want, but dude, Zakai, him like trying so hard to fight back, to come back to this, he just shows how much he loves this university and shows how much he loves this team. Like he bleeds orange all day, every day, dude. But
yeah. No, I
Not gonna
respect
lie.
the effort. I do. I fully respect the effort. I'd want him to come back as much as anybody else. That would be great. You know, bring Peyton Manning back in football with another magical year of eligibility. But it's just not going to work out that way.
yeah, not gonna lie. I honestly wish that Rick Barnes could find some kind of like a special part on the staff or something, because I feel like that would be cool.
Yeah. I mean, he could. Make him an analyst like a lot of these football coaches do. The only problem with that is there's a lot less basketball coaches than there are football in all positions. So I'm not sure that'll work out all that well, but I'd certainly hope it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Make him like a grad assistant or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. He can stick with Tennessee until the day he dies. All right.
Don't hate on my homie Zakai. Nobody's hating on Zakai, but
yeah, no, we're not hating on him. We'd love for him to come back. I just mentioned that. It just so happens that he won't. There's no reason for him to come back, at least according to the NCAA. But yeah,
I would love for Zakai to come and be a coach. I think he'd actually be a pretty decent coach. Not like a head coach, but like an assistant coach.
Yeah. Well, while that was going on, with him and Ziegler and all that, the baseball team was getting busy with recruiting, and they certainly did just that. They picked up some significant transfers through the portal. First off, I mentioned the Bowling Green guy they picked up earlier. Well, they picked up another one from Bowling Green. Two-way player DJ Newman. He's committed to Tennessee, coming off a visit with the Vols. He's a right-hand pitcher and can play in the outfield. So, yeah, significant pickup right there from Bowling Green. But not just him. There were some other guys, too. New Virginia transfer, Henry Ford. He's committed to Tennessee over Mississippi State and Texas. He's an all-ACC to be RF hit. He's got he hit a .348. He's got 28 home runs and 115 RBIs in the 2 seasons he had with Virginia. So, yeah, significant that's really pickup right there. That's not all. That's not all. There's more. Yes, there's even more where that came from. Yes, Southern Conference Pitcher of the Year from ETSU, the first team that beat us in this previous season, Brady Frederick. He has entered the transfer portal, and guess where he committed? Yes, that's right. He has come to Knoxville to play for the Tennessee Volunteers, and he is really, really good. Apparently, he's like the top transfer to hit the portal, man. Guess he wants to play for the best, at least one of the best. Shh, LSU fans, chill out. Chill out, LSU fans. I know what you're going to do. But, yeah, significant pickups right there, but it doesn't come without consequences, as seven of our baseball pitchers have entered the portal. Michael Sharman, Tanner Wiggins, Luke Payne, Brandon May, Stratton Scott, Dane Bjorn, and Andrew Dumont. Yes, all 7 of those guys, they all hit the transfer portal. So, out with the old and in with the new is all I can say. If these guys are going to make us a better team, good enough to make it back to Omaha, then by all means, make my day happy.
Right. I'm just very happy we've been hitting it hard on the transfer portal. Late. I know that Virginia player we picked up. I think he was like the number 1 transfer portal recruit. At least that's what I saw. That he was the number 1 recruit in the transfer portal.
Yeah. That's
really
going off of that too.
Yeah, really good pickup. All of these guys, I think Tennessee has a really good shot to be a good team again next year. It's not like the team was like utterly like bad this year, but it was a down year in Tony Vitello standards. Even though we finished as a top 15 team. Hey, we still finished ranked higher than Vanderbilt though, so there's that.
There you go. That's very true. That's funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, but they beat Tennessee 3 out of 4 times.
Yeah, I think the whole Super Bowl allegations lean way more towards Arkansas than they do Vandy, because Vandy at least brought some hardware home this season. They may have lost in the regionals, but at least they won the SEC championship. Arkansas didn't win anything. They didn't win the SEC, nor did they make it past the third game of Omaha. So yeah, brutal.
Yeah, man. I know, like you said, that Tennessee needs to stop like the, everything school thing. But in Tennessee, of course, is obviously not a nothing school. But not gonna lie, Arkansas outside of track and field, they might be.
Ouch. You think so?
Yes, I mean, think about it. Their football program right now sucks. Basketball program right now sucks. Women's basketball sucks. Baseball can't win anything. Softball sucks. I mean,
Hey,
Ouch.
I will say this with Arkansas, like you just said. I mean, I remember after they had choked that away, people were bringing up, the national championships each school has, and Arkansas fans were like, "Well, we got like 51 national championships." So I'm like, 49 of those are track and field. Like, like I'm I'm sorry, but it's like
Yeah, track and
49
field
of those.
school.
crazy you say basketball sucks when they made the Sweet 16. Let's dude, they didn't even have that hard of a path to make
I
the
mean,
Sweet 16.
I will say this. I mean, Arkansas did do a lot better than. Well, I mean, I won't say better than what people expected. People expected a lot more, but they did overachieve after you adjust for how they were supposed to go out. They were supposed to go out, in the first weekend or whatever. So, I mean, I think
Saint
they did okay.
Yeah, St. John's was a tough game. I mean, St. John's was a decent team, but I mean, is it possibly that St. John's was a bit overrated and they just feasted on a mid Big East conference?
I think you just need to take the L on this one, Lucas. I definitely don't think Arkansas sucks in basketball.
Dude, they have John Calipari, dude. It's eventual
They're
they're
bad,
going to go out.
That's bad, but it's not like they suck.
It's eventual that they're going to go out and lose to like a St. Peter's or a friggin' Oakland University.
Oh yeah, that's a terrible way to go out. But they never really even sucked under Calipari. Kentucky didn't, from what I recall.
I mean, they didn't suck, but let's be honest, they didn't reach like the level that they wanted to under Calipari. I mean,
yeah.
What Kentucky expects to go to the Final Four every year.
Mm-hmm.
With Kentucky, like all he was able to do was go out and lose first round at like St. Peter's and Oakland.
Oakland.
Hey, he had the one national championship there, but that was mostly because of John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins.
Exactly. Hey, he even had like a super team with what? Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns. Who else was on that team?
Yeah, I'm not all that sure. Here, pivoting to a different, not to pivot off of what you were talking about, Lucas, but there is something I'm really curious about. Now that we've gone through the entire baseball season, there's a question that must be asked, and this isn't just for you guys, because I think we'll be biased on this one, obviously, but this is for the comments as well. Who is the better baseball head coach right now? Jay Johnson or Tony Vitello?
As much as I hate to say it right now, it's probably Jay Johnson. I mean, he's won 2 titles in the last 3 years. I mean, he's recruiting really good at LSU. Don't get me wrong. I feel like Tony right now is still, in my opinion, probably the second best head coach behind him. But I feel like for Tony to, of course, retake it, I think he needs to start winning more championships. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being second best. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'll say this. I feel like it depends on what you go on, because I think what someone pointed out was Tennessee and LSU are 2 completely different programs when it comes to baseball, where they stand historically. Now, of course, you want to make the argument. Now, of course, it depends on, what year you started at. But as it stands, whenever Tony Vitello took over, LSU was, you know, they are the baseball program now. I mean, and they've been that way since Skip Bertman. And so
Yeah, LSU is basically
I
the. I was
yeah,
just gonna say LSU is basically like the Alabama in baseball. That's basically what
yeah,
LSU is.
yeah, and I mean, there's only one program that has more championships than them, and that's just because that program dominated the '70s and '80s when
Hmm.
a lot more
Well,
people.
the narrative that I've heard is well, that Tony Vitello, before he got there, the Tennessee baseball program was a big steaming pile of diarrhea. And then,
I mean,
he got there and changed it. And then Jay Johnson was born on third base, is kind of the narrative that I heard about that.
I wouldn't say Jay Johnson was born on third base, but I mean, he was, of course, handed the keys to basically he was handed the keys basically to a brand new Lamborghini.
Oh.
That's what.
and I know some people are gonna say like, well, LSU wasn't doing as good as they usually do. But here's another thing: it's kind of like taking over at, like, say, Alabama or Ohio State. It's kind of like the Ryan Day situation. Yeah, those are Ryan Day's players, but do we think Ryan Day, like, if he put him somewhere else, could he succeed and, like, build up a program?
I still think he could. I mean,
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, it's kind of depends on, like, how you say that or whatever. I mean, I think Jay, where was he at? Where's he coached at? I know he coached
he
at
coached at
Arizona.
Arizona.
So I mean, Arizona is also not a really bad program. I mean, so that's another thing is that, yeah, Arizona, he probably did help build up Arizona back to relevance. So I mean, he could probably build a program pretty good considering where Arizona's at.
But
So,
yeah, but I mean,
but it's also, you got to also keep in mind, like Tony Vitello, he also did it in, what I would consider the hardest, baseball conference. So
right. No, there's no doubt what Jay Johnson has done with LSU is impressive. But honestly, even though he's won more natties than Tony, I still think what Tony has done is more impressive, in my opinion. Yeah, that might just be the orange shades talking, but I mean, like I said, Jay Johnson, he was handed literally the keys to a Lamborghini, whereas Tony Vitello, he was handed the keys to like a Kia Soul. Like this program was not good when he got here. We were terrible.
I mean, we were terrible to about mid. Occasionally, maybe every now and again, we might spring out a 40-win season or something.
Well, regardless of whether or not you think he's better than Jay Johnson, he gets all the credit for turning the baseball program into what it is now. Because
Yeah,
he at this point he might just be the baseball program because there's nothing before he got there. It was dead. It was a dead program, and then he comes in and brings it up all the way to the point that we were celebrating a national championship for an entire year. You know what I mean?
well, heck, I've had LSU fans say this to me, like whenever I was talking to them about it last year when we won our first, which was, I can't remember who it was, but I remember as an LSU fan. Someone said, as long as Tony stays there, and if he stays there his entire career, that, Tony, he could be what Tony will be to Tennessee's kind of what Skip Bertman is to LSU baseball. He's the one that built the foundation, strong, and put a love there for baseball. And then all you got to do is just keep hiring good people and just keep the ball rolling and not let it die.
Yeah, he was
Right.
he's a program builder. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, all I gotta say is last year winning the national championship, it was great, but I honestly think that that's going to be like the first of possibly many natties we could win with Tony. I honestly think that he'll probably win another one because I don't think there's no way he doesn't win another one. Like there's no way, right? I think he's bound to win another.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it just depends on, it also comes in like who you draw in the, NCAA tournament and stuff like that,
Right.
and also how good your team is, how you built your team and stuff like that. So, and I mean, heck, he's also, I mean, there's one thing you never take away from him. He's the first, he was the first coach to lead one seed to a national title since, what was it, 98, I think, with whenever Miami done it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he's also,
Okay.
the
Hold on.
only,
This is
the
a
only,
take right here. This might be this is proof that dead internet theory is not just a theory. Hold on a second. Sorry. Anyway, this is proof that dead internet theory is not just a theory but a revelation. Tony V is just a baseball version of Dan Mullen, except he has a ring. Are we being for real here?
Dude,
Dan Mullen.
that's bad. If anything,
I'll let y'all dog walk that take. I'll be right back.
if anything, I would compare right now. I compare Tony Vitello to Ryan Day. If anything, I think that seems like a fair comparison. Tony Vitello, don't you think, Julio?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I mean, here's the other thing. Ryan Day took over a way better program. Like, I'm trying to think of someone I would compare him to. To be honest, I feel like the best comparison, this might get me, but I think they have a lot of similarities in a sense, which and one of them is just women thirsting after them. I think probably his most apt comparison probably be Marcus Freeman.
Oh, Marcus Freeman. All right, that could be another good one. But yeah, Ryan Day. Ryan Day is that. That's definitely a better comparison than Dan.
Well, I was sitting here thinking because Marcus Freeman's a young coach. Women tend to thirst after him the same way they do Tony. And so I was like, okay, so there's that. But the Dan Mullen thing makes no sense because Dan Mullen hates recruiting. Tony Vitello is literally the best recruiter in college baseball.
Exactly.
And I don't think there's many people that could out recruit him.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know if John Vaughters is actually being serious, or he just put that out for rage bait. I don't even know.
That's got to be rage bait. Like,
Yeah, it's got to be rage bait. Like, there's no way dude actually believes that. But yeah,
I was going to say the Dan Mullen thing just don't make sense.
it does not. Like Dan Mullen, he couldn't recruit at Mississippi State. I mean, listen, nothing against Dan Mullen. He was a good coach, but he wasn't a great coach.
I mean, he can recruit. The thing is, Dan Mullen's too lazy to recruit.
Yeah. Honestly, speaking of Dan Mullen, I remember somebody saying that Dan Mullen, like, he could have possibly made a better NFL coach than a college coach, which, I mean, maybe, because in the NFL, of course, you don't have to recruit. You just let your GM do the drafting.
Okay, have we shut down that brain dead Tate? I'd certainly hope we
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
All right, Squid, we need some, me and Julio had, like, different, like, comparisons to talk for Tony Vitello when it comes to football coaches. You want to hear him?
Yeah, feed me.
All right, I'm not saying I'm like 100% right. All I'm saying is this is definitely a better take than saying he's Dan Mullen. I said Tony Vitello. You could compare him to Ryan Day. I feel like that's definitely better than Dan Mullen.
I said Marcus
definitely
Freeman.
Better than Dan Mullen.
I said Marcus Freeman because they're both younger head coaches that women thirst after.
Maybe. I mean, there's also, this might be a bit of a stretch, but James Franklin, because, well, Penn State wasn't all that great before he got there. I'm putting that into thought, not just what he won, but where he began. You know, you're thinking when you think about coaches, top coaches right now that started at a school that was struggling in football, but then they rise to national relevance. The list thins out pretty significantly. James Franklin, Dabo Swinney, and Clemson wasn't even that bad before he got there.
Actually, yeah, you could compare him to Dabo.
I think Dabo would be probably the best move that you could get there.
I mean, yeah, I guess if you want to say like he's dead Mullen in the sense of that he, raised a program from like Mississippi State to like a really good program. You could say that he's similar to Dan Mullen in that way, but like that's where the comparison ends. Like literally, the only person that I can think of that did like a big program, resurrection would be Kansas State and Bill Snyder, but that's even overkill because
that's one of the biggest that's the biggest program resurrection of all time. I don't think anything comes close to that.
Yeah. So I mean, and like I said, that would be too gracious to Tony because our program wasn't that good.
Right.
Like, we weren't that ass. Like I mean, we had already Dickey, Todd Helton.
No. Kansas State had only played in like one bowl game the entire time before Bill Snyder got there, so like we weren't that bad.
So like I said, that's like the only thing I can think of. And like I can't really think of like many, program builders unless you want to go like group of 5 head coaches.
Right.
But then once you start doing that, that's on like really I think the only one I could really say like you want to give a person that built a program, which of course he didn't win a national championship as a head coach, but Frank Solich, who built that Ohio program. I mean that's a hell of a program where he built because Ohio was asset football for a long time. And he's built them into a consistent, MAC championship contender. And I think they finally win the MAC finally?
I think so.
Yeah.
They won the MAC because I remember Timothy Chalamet picked them.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Kentucky Fried 94 said football's only 2 months away. Yeah. This 2 months is basically that dead period, so it won't be much longer, but it'll feel like it.
Yeah, slowest 2 months of all time. Did SEC Media Days, did it already happen or is it next month?
No, it's next month.
Yeah, I figured.
Right.
I'll try to watch Media Days if I can, especially when Josh Heupel's on the podium.
Oh yeah! Shout out to Super Nuclear for boosting the server. Very much appreciate it. But if y'all aren't in the United Legion of College Football Discord server, would highly recommend doing that. Great server, great people in there too.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are the comparisons we came up with or whatever. I guess I'm gonna stop rambling about stuff now. So.
Goop says, "Please don't watch ours. Just let us go 8-4 and die."
Yeah. I am a little interested to see what Mike Elko has to say. Yeah, you're better off with him than Jimbo Fisher. I'll say that much.
I mean, I think A&M will be better this year, but I don't think the record is gonna show for it.
Nebraska should have never fired Frank Solich. I agree with that. Definitely better than the alternative. That's the risk you take when you fire these longtime head coaches, is that you, especially if they have a mid-year, the moment you fire them, you're reaching for better expectations than mid. And if they go below that, then holy hell. And sometimes they do. Many, many times they do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that they shouldn't have fired Frank Solich. Because they were still winning 10 games a year, and then they fired him because they were like, well, we want 12 games a year. It's like, okay, bro. It's like, maybe, calm down a little bit and
Exactly.
Suffer through a couple of seasons and you might get something. It's a pretty hard conference back then. It wasn't
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
because a lot of people forget he had Texas, who was getting better back then, and then also Oklahoma finally started to get better.
oh man,
I
I
saw
miss
somebody mention
Bush.
earlier that UNLV is actually getting some pretty good recruits under Dan Mullen. Imagine how
Well,
funny
I
that
mean,
would be if he like actually has a really good year with them and somehow makes the playoffs or something.
I mean,
he
they
also
could.
had,
I mean,
I mean, we're heading towards a possibility that they could play Florida in a bowl game. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, if you want to make primetime entertainment at any point in December, that's how you do it right there. That would be, it doesn't matter to me if it's like the friggin' Frisco Bowl. You have UNLV and Florida play in a bowl game, you're gonna get some extremely good ratings. So if I'm picking out a bowl game and they have similar records, that's what I'm picking right there.
ice cream.
The ice cream's here.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know the ice cream man? The ice cream man. The ice
Well,
cream
what I was going to
man.
say that's probably not because of Dan Mullen's recruiting. That's because of the Fertitta brothers bankrolling UNLV.
Right.
Because I don't know if y'all know, they were the people that originally owned the UFC before it was sold to that conglomerate group. So.
Oh yeah. By the way, we do have a little bit of softball news, and I forgot to address this, but this is great news. Carlin Pickens, of course, named Softball America Pitcher of the Year. Shocker. Shocker. I know. Crazy. Absolute beast right there. Also news, Tennessee softball is hosting a top recruiting class this summer, and we're going to get some reporting out of that pretty soon. So hopefully we get some great news. And considering that softball was probably the strongest overall of the four, I expect some great things to come out of them over the summer.
You could argue either softball or men's basketball, honestly.
Yeah. But that's your news for softball. Kentucky Fried 94 asks, who's the favorite in the SEC? Texas. Right now, Texas is the clear favorite. Once you go below Texas, it's a complete and utter mess because you never know who's the top runner in there. I mean, there are so many teams to choose from. Like, you've got maybe below Texas, you got a gap, and then it's like, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, Texas A&M, Ole Miss.
Wait, what about Oklahoma? What?
Oklahoma? Yeah, I mean, Vandy can do something maybe. No, Georgia's not the front runner. Their quarterback situation. Yeah, it's too. Yeah.
That not only the quarterback situation, they lose quite a bit of talent off of last year's team.
All the analysts are picking Georgia to go 12-0 with their schedule, and I can guarantee you nobody's sleeping on Georgia. It's just the narrative that they want you to believe. Oh, you think Georgia think you want to go 7-5? Perennial freaking victims. They always have to be victims. The analysts aren't picking us to go undefeated. Oh, they're doubting Georgia again. No, they're not. No, they're not. You have an unexplainable quarterback situation. That's why people aren't picking you to go 12-0 if there are any out there.
I don't know. Just put them up against Notre Dame again. I mean.
Did I ever tell you I can't stand Georgia?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, honestly, speaking of Notre Dame, man, if they just had a proven quarterback, I honestly would probably pick them to win the Natty this year, but they don't have one.
Yeah, that's going to be their concern. They've got the talent around them. Running is not going to be a problem. They're going to be a run-heavy team this year. We all know that. It's just, are they going to have a quarterback that's going to be able to be tough like Riley Leonard was in those situations? If they have a quarterback as good or even potentially even better than Riley Leonard, then there you go. But they just, I'm not so sure they've got that.
Yeah, if they somehow get, if their quarterbacks is somehow like better than Riley Leonard, then yeah, I think Notre Dame will probably win the national championship. But I don't think he's going to be better than Riley Leonard.
Right now, if I had to pick a team that's going to face off against Texas in the SEC championship game, it's going to be Alabama. Right now, they've got probably over, other than quarterback, which is still a little up in the air at this point with Ty Simpson and all that. Everything else, I mean, they're absolutely completely loaded. They're going to have a better defense. Their offense is just going to be just as nuclear as it was. And you've got one of the winningest head coaches along with that. I think Kalen DeBoer is going to have a great offseason. I think it's going to turn into a great season.
Why are peoples are high on PSU? Actually, I'm one of those people. The reason people are high on Penn State is because they return the most talent out of anybody in the country. And not to mention, they are going to have one of the best running backfields in the country next year.
The best.
Of course, yeah. And their defense is good every year. Drew Aller, I think he's going to take a step forward this year. I think he's going to be really good for Penn State this year. The only problem that I feel like Penn State has is wide receivers. I feel like that's probably the only problem that Penn State will have.
Well, they didn't use them in any capacity last season, and it brought them all the way to the playoff semifinals. So,
yeah, exactly. That's why I'm high on Penn State, and that's why I think Squid already knows about this. I told him I had a hot take about it, that I predicted Penn State to win the Big Ten this year. The thing is, though, I think what's going to happen is Penn State and Ohio State, they play each other this season. I think Penn State will lose to Ohio State in the regular season. And when they rematch in the Big Ten championship, I think Penn State finally beats them the second time come around.
Wouldn't that just be a Cinderella moment in the making for James Franklin?
I mean, I think if James Franklin wants to finally get the Ohio State monkey off his back, this has got to be the year.
See, I think the only issue with Penn State, you mentioned wide receivers, that didn't matter when they had a Tyler Warren. They aren't blessed with such a weapon now. Now, they still have a great tight end room, so they're obviously going to be utilizing their tight ends in most capacities, but they're going to be suffering from probably a lot of the same issues that Notre Dame is going to be suffering from, which is I guess a QB room. Well, I'll put it this way. Drew Aller, I think, is definitely better than the quarterbacks that Notre Dame has, but they're going to be suffering with everything on offense besides running the football is what I think. So we'll see.
I think Ohio State is going to go 10-2, losses to Penn State and Michigan. Could happen. I mean, Ohio State at this point, they can't beat Michigan, so it could happen. And then a loss to Penn State, it could happen. Penn State, like I said, I'm really high on Penn State this year. I think
Texas could very well go on the road and knock off Ohio State.
Yeah, I think Ohio State will take a bit of a step back.
Probably. All right, well, it is 9 o'clock. It is time for me to skedaddle on out of here. Yeah, we're going to be back next week. Hopefully we'll have a special guest on the show here at episode 96. 5 more episodes left, and I'll update you guys on what we got for episode 100 as we get closer and closer to that deadline. Lucas, Julio, any final words before we shut this thing down?
Well, I guess I'll say go Vols and tighten up, and that's all I got to pretty much say. And Coastal Carolina, I'm sorry.
Yeah, all I got to say is I'm disappointed in Coastal Carolina. Come on, guys, you got to show up there.
And don't you blame this on me, Coastal Carolina. It ain't my fault you can't hit a ball.
Yeah, and then also, like always, go Vols and go Cowboys. So that's it.
Yeah. Fun fact, all the states with a major league team in them, only one state has never seen a team of theirs win a championship, that state being Tennessee. Well, thank goodness I don't care about major leagues at all in any capacity.
Wait, what? Wait, what do you
Yeah,
say?
thanks a lot, John Waters. Now I'm going to go cry.
Oh, well, he cares, I guess. I don't even think Texas makes the SEC championship. I think it'll be Bama and Georgia again. Washington will beat Ohio State trap game. Ooh, that's a big take right there. Big take. You got a lot of faith in Jed the Fish. All right, real quick.
Dude, I don't even know what you're
got 10
laughing
push-ups.
about, dude.
Well,
All your
7,
major
actually.
league teams suck. You're a friggin' Texans fan and a Rockets fan. I know you're an Astros fan, but dude, that was Mickey. It was Mickey Mouse.
What'd you say?
I was Goob was laughing and like he's acting like the Houston sports are like beyond belief. Like the Texans suck. The Rockets, yes, they have KD now, but they're still going to choke it away. And the Astros, the Houston Trash Cans, they literally cheated to get that one championship.
Are we including the Cougars in this, or is it just those three piles of doo-doo?
Yeah, those three piles of doo-doo.
Rats.
Exactly.
That would have just brought it down further. 2021 Braves ring was Mickey Mouse.
2021 Braves was Mickey Mouse. Okay. No, it wasn't, dude.
Well, at least y'all's MLB teams have, y'all's the MLB team has a ring. Mine's never been to a World Series, and then the Pirates, last time the Pirates went to the World Series, I'm pretty sure it was in like the 70s. So I'm screwed on both ends when it comes to baseball.
Cougs, what is offense? Yeah, I don't know. Houston Cougars, they haven't really been anything since that one dude was their head coach. I can't remember what his name was.
Telling it like it is. All right, well then, I'm going to go ahead and bounce on out of here then, fellas. Appreciate everybody for being on here tonight. Love each and every one of you. Yes, in case you're wondering, we will be doing Tart Area Tuesdays tomorrow. I mean it this time. I will be doing it. So, yeah. And then Saturday, we'll be doing the Dynasty stream. We only got 2 more of those left, and then I'm moving on from that. Probably. We'll see. All right, then. Well, appreciate everyone for being on here tonight. We'll see you guys next week for another rendition of the Vol-Star Podcast. And wish me luck because the summer semester is just starting, and I'm taking summer classes, so yay! And I get to do that a little bit part-time. All right, love y'all. See y'all next week. And as always, power to Tardaria. And of course, for the sake of this show, go Big Orange.